I bought a 5-year-old mare in February. When checking her out, I rode her on a 2-hour trail ride and watched the woman bridle and saddle her. When she was shipped to me, I thought we'd be going on rides, but all summer my trainer and I have been trying to get a blanket and soft saddle on her. It just seems to be a no-go. She explodes on us. What happened? And how do I work through whatever trauma she has going on?
Lori, you got yourself a mess on your hands here. Couple things to think about. Without seeing exactly what's going on with your horse in person, let me just kind of give you some ideas of some things that you might follow. What happened between the time that you got her and you know, you could go out and say, oh, well, you know, they had her drugged or whatever. I don't know. I'm not going to accuse anybody of anything here, but let's just say we got the nonsense on our hands now. Now it's your problem. So congratulations. I will tell you this. Respect is not transferable from person to person. I wish we could be billionaires if that was the case. Meaning, if we train the horse, Clinton trains the horse, I train the horse, whoever, and I give it to you and I say, Lori, this horse is going to be exactly the way he is right now until the day he dies. There will be no changes. He will not challenge you. He will stop this good. He will always be this soft. He will always be this relaxed. He's always going to jump in the trailer like this. He's always going to ride exactly like this. Does that sound like a fantasy? Because it is. Okay, that's just not real. The reality is, likely what happened is when you got your horse home, you didn't continue to gain your horse's respect. So I'll give you an example. Let's say, for example, Clinton trains me a horse. He trains me a horse for 2 years. And he gives me the horse and says, he's all yours now. And I take him home. But I don't do any of the things that Clinton does. I don't do any of the groundwork. I don't do any of the suppling. I don't desensitize him. I don't do any of that kind of stuff. The horse is naturally going to revert back to what he is. Horses are prey animals. They're reactive animals. They slowly revert back to using the reactive side of their brain. Now, the better trained the horse is, the longer it takes. But there really is no such thing as a horse that's just, he's forever trained, okay? Horses are nothing more than maintenance with legs. You know, you can buy a, $200,000 Mercedes and you still have to change the oil. You still got to put new tires on it. You know what I mean? Still got to replace the windshield wipers every once in a while. And that's a machine. What makes you think a horse would be any different? So when you got her home, likely what happened is you just kind of went on thinking, well, this is just the way she was going to be. Now, I'm not saying maybe she was always difficult to saddle and they just didn't really share that with you. You know what I mean? Maybe they saddled her 40 times a day before you got there, and when you got there, this is her best one yet, and they're just going to go with it. And they just didn't feel the need to disclose that. But regardless of whether that was the case or not, it doesn't really matter. What you got to do now, you need to go gain this mare's respect. Okay, you need to start the fundamentals groundwork. We sound like a broken record saying this. I wish I could say something different, but that's really the reality. There's a hole in the foundation somewhere. So if she's frightened for me to get the saddle on, I'm going to go back to square one. Can I desensitize her with a lead rope? If she can't handle me touching her with my hands or with the lead rope, she's never going to tolerate the saddle. Anytime I'm having a problem, like I'll give you an example. We've got a bunch of 2-year-olds at the ranch right now, at Clinton's Ranch in Farmington, Arkansas, that we're starting. And all of these 2-year-olds, they get to a point to where there's too many of them for me to do a lot of groundwork with them every day, so we kind of taper off and we're doing very minimal groundwork. But if I start to notice, they're just getting a little worried about me. They're getting a little funny when I throw the saddle pad on. They're starting to get a little, scared of me when I pick my foot up and I go to get in the stirrup or something like that. I'm immediately going to retreat back and say, okay, what part of the foundation that you guys know do I need to go back and get better? Okay, do I need to do more desensitizing? Do I need to do a little bit more groundwork with this particular horse before I get on him to where I get him using the thinking side of his brain and I get him to where he wants to stand still? Okay, so right off the bat, when you go do the fundamentals and you follow that protocol, we sensitize the horse and we move their feet. Okay, that's going to get the horse to use the thinking side of his brain, and it's going to get him respectful. Then you're going to come back and you're going to desensitize your horse, which, think of it a little bit like wax on, wax off. You pressure the horse, which will give you 98% positive. The horse is respectful. He's using the thinking side of his brain. 2% negative is they're a little frightened of you. Now they're a little worried about the stick and string. Now they think you're going to pressure them. And that's where you got to come back and desensitize. So if your horse was good with your basic tools, our basic tools are our lead rope and our stick and string. If she's standing quiet, confident, relaxed, not moving a muscle when I'm going through those basic tools, I'm going to start getting your saddle pad out. And I'm going to start desensitizing her to the saddle pad. I'm going to use the approach and retreat method. So you approach with the saddle pad. When she stands still and she relaxes, shows you one of the 5 signs of relaxing, you take the saddle pad away. And you do that in between every groundwork exercise. As soon as her feet stop, pick that saddle pad up. On and off, on and off, on and off. Move it all over. Slide it off her butt. Do it on both sides of her. Flex her with the saddle pad on. Slap and tap on top of that saddle pad until she's just absolutely comfortable with all things saddle pad. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the saddle. In between every groundwork exercise, I'm going to go lunge her for 4 or 5 minutes, lunge her for spec stage 1. As soon as she stops and her feet stop moving, immediately start throwing that saddle on and off. Throw it on and off 50 times on each side. Put the saddle back on the ground. Go work on all 4 methods of backing. And in between every groundwork exercise, I'm going to bring that saddle back out. So why is she standing there and getting to rest and get her air back? I want her to associate saddle. Where's the saddle? So do this out in the open. Don't do this in the wash bay or the saddling rack. Do it in a round pen. Do it in an arena where you can keep all your equipment right there, where you don't go groundwork her outside the barn, try to take her back inside the barn and saddle her, okay? You got to kind of keep all your equipment close by. In a perfect world, I would say, I would like you to where when her feet stop moving, within about 10 seconds, you've got that saddle pad up and you're working on it. You're throwing it on and off. Don't do it with her tied up. Just do it with her head tipped towards you. Have the lead rope in your hand or drape it over your arm. Do this out in the open. A round pin's a great place to do this because there's very little areas for her to get away from you. But you can also move her feet around. She's not going to pull back and panic and slip over on the wash rack, and there's no room to do anything in there. You need to be able to, if she wants to move her feet, you can follow her around. Okay, we're not going to try to get her to stop when she doesn't want to stop with the saddle pad. We're going to use that approach and retreat method. We didn't say approach when the horse runs away, you snub him up to a post until you make him stand still. That's not what we said. We said we approach, and when the horse stands still and shows us a sign of relaxing, then we take the pressure away. So that's really what needs to happen here. So that's a long way around to what you need to do, but ultimately, you need to go back and get some control of your horse on the ground, teach them some of the fundamental groundwork exercises, and then you're going to use your saddle and pad like a desensitizing tool, literally just like it's the stick and string or the halter and lead rope. You're going to use it the exact same way, and if you follow that protocol, we can get rid of this saddling issue pretty quickly.
Take your horsemanship to the next level. The No Worries Club Premium membership is your ultimate portal to complete your horse training. You'll have access to Clinton's complete training library, thousands of hours of step-by-step instructional videos. You'll master all aspects of horsemanship, from fundamentals to trick training. You'll have access to our exclusive social network that connects you with thousands of dedicated horsemen from around the world. You'll have the method available wherever you are and accessible through the web, your phone and tablets, or your favorite streaming devices. You'll receive 8 all-new training videos per year and the quarterly No Worries Journal, as well as access to the ever-growing video library, Q&As, performance horse series, blogs, and more. But that's not all. You also get free tickets to walkabout tours and priority access to the latest news coming from Down Under horsemanship. Not to mention VIP pricing on all of Clinton's must-have training tools. So what are you waiting for? Unlock the ultimate access and jumpstart your training program today.